So the problem is that the hole that the pivot goes into isn't round. And you have a lot of play. And that is why you have the travel of the lock bar here. Because when you put force on the blade, it's shifting on the whole pivot and kicking out. Instead of just rotating, it's kicking out. What's going on, guys? So I wanted to make a part 2 to the other video that I had about the F25-71 Modus. If you haven't seen that, definitely watch it because you'll know what I'm talking about. But to recap, what I'm talking about is the liner lock when you put pressure on the blade traveling. So like this one is locked up right about there, as you can see. And then when you put pressure on the blade, they all seem to be having, their liner locks all seem to be having this problem. As you put pressure, now you look, that's shifted to halfway. Right? I'll show you again. If I can get it to focus. That's where it is now, right on the edge. And then you put pressure, and it shifts. Now with the Modus F25-71, the carbon fiber version, that bar shifted all the way to the end easily. I have noticed it when I was cutting cheese. You got to watch that first video and you'll know what I'm talking about. So what I figured, I was looking at, I took the knife apart, and what I was initially going to do, I figured that it was a problem more where the internal lock bar, which is here on the blade, and that's where it would hit. I figured it was more of an issue that it wasn't, you know, milled right, basically. And that there was too much play, so it was allowing it to rotate more like that, which would allow the lock bar to slide over. So my initial plan was to take a punch and put this on a piece of metal, you know, like an anvil or something, and punch and push this metal out a little bit. So I took the knife apart, and I noticed immediately, and you can kind of see it here. You could see, I think you can see that. If you can't, you're going to have to take my word for it, but the hole's not round. And the best way to show you that is to put the pivot in, and look. See how much play there is? What knife do you own that does this? Look at that. I mean, that is excessive. And it's even up and down. Not so much up and down. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of focus. You can see, well, it's pretty much, but it is definitely more this way. So what the issue is that the hole is not round. So when you're putting pressure on the blade, it's kicking out, like boom, you know, instead of just over rotating, it's actually kicking out, which is allowing, look at that, look how loose that is. So I can't fix that. I mean, I don't know how to fix that. Which means I spent $180 for a complete piece of garbage. And that is why I wanted to make this video. The only thing I'm thinking of doing, I'm thinking this has the issue too, obviously. I think they all have that issue. I have a friend in New Hampshire that has a cut jack. I also have a cut jack. My cut jack doesn't move, or if it does move, it's very, very little, I think it was. Not concerning. This one, you can see it locks up there, and when I do it, it goes to halfway. Still not great, but a little concerning. And that's why I think now I'm having this issue. That, where it locks, because it does it here. Hear it? There's a little, I was trying to figure out how is it moving a little bit and then locking up, you know, with the washers. And now I realize it's because the hole's big. I haven't taken this one apart yet. Kind of don't have the heart to, like disgusted. But what I think I might end up trying to do, since this blade obviously has a smaller hole than this blade, is D2, if I can, trying to put the carbon fiber scales on this knife, or using the liner, because I have to, if I'm in the bearings, because the liners are different. I'm gonna have to like Frankenstein this knife. So the point is, I spent 180 bucks for M390 and carbon fiber for a knife that's useless, because to use a knife and then that lock bar slides all the way over is aggravating. And I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use it. And how do I sell a knife like that? And I can't return it because I modified the scales. If you remember, these are real shiny. And so I made these look like, and like I didn't have this to show on the first video, this cold steel golden eye, and that's the first time I think I've ever called it the golden eye. Usually I call it like the golden nipple ring or something else. Fantastic carbon fiber on this, and they did a great job, cold steel, and it has it almost feels like slate, like polished slate when you're holding it. So that's what I wanted these to do, and that's what I did. I used 400 grit sandpaper, and I got them to, as you can see, have the same sheen, and they have the exact same feel now. But with the shine, it was really plasticky, crappy feeling. So I don't know. That's it. It's a pretty short video. Maybe I'll do one of the Frankenstein when I eventually do it. I really just don't have the ambition to do it right now because I'm pretty disgusted in this knife. That's bad. These are supposed to be made in Italy. Italians usually make very good things. I'm thinking they're lying. I don't know. I can't say that for sure, but I find it really hard to believe that a company in Italy is producing holes that aren't perfectly round and fitted to the pivots. That sounds like a Chinese type deal, like what's going on with these. I think these are made in China, and that's why you get the issues you have with the cheaper versions. That's why they're cheaper. For 180 bucks, this thing should have been perfect, and I'm very, very, very disappointed. And I'll reiterate, their lockbacks are amazing, amazing knives, the ones that are made in Italy. Again, you can take a look at the first video. And I would go with those for now. Don't avoid steel will by any means, but definitely avoid their folders. They're having, or their liner locks. They're having major issues from the expensive on down. I cannot speak for the G10. I do not own one of those. And I'll tell you right now, I will not purchase one because I'm not taking the chance. They're about 140, 150 bucks. So why would I take the chance? So I hope this was helpful. Please heed my advice until you hear otherwise from other people that are legitimate, not to purchase these knives. Save yourself the money and get yourself a knife that's not going to have issues. All right, guys, take care.